supposed to have an agenda, but I can't see it.
Is the way that he's convened Liverpool faithful and really brought faith right across the city together in that common understanding that we're very proud of.
Should try to have a charger. No, I can't see an agenda, no. But it says it's supposed to have an agenda, but
together in that common understanding that we're very proud of.
Mahaya, come on.
With this city. Formed in Toxteth in the 1970s, proudly the first black British soul group to enjoy UK #1 and appear on Top of the Pops. But as well as their kind of musical career stretching back to the 70s, absolutely wonderful that one of their latest performances in the city was for the Eurovision concert on St George's Plateau back in 2023. All excellent candidates who I'm proudly happy to second the nominations for this evening.
Thank you. Councillor Cashman.
Thank you, Lord Mayor. And I'm quite conscious I don't want to go over old ground what Liam has just mentioned there, but just to echo his comments and a few of my own as well. Every one of these candidates is well deserving of the Citizen of Honour of Liverpool, and they join people such as Professor Shiv Pandey and Pete Price. Professor John Ashton, honoured for a lifetime of dedication to public health, not only in Liverpool, but actually around the world, as one of the initiators of the WHO's Healthy Cities project. The late Chrissy Byrne, as Liam said, remembered for being the heart and soul of Walton Hall Park. And today we remember and celebrate her dedication as a community activist. Leroy Cooper, who represents an important part of Liverpool's history, not only because of the Toxteth riots, but also as a documentarian. He may have been born in Jamaica, but today he's celebrated as a son of Liverpool. The Real Thing, and I'm not going to do a rendition of any of their songs, but I'm going to say well-deserved, fantastic band, and I'm glad to honour them today. And last but no means least, Reverend Crispin Palin, who was the rector of Our Lady and St Nicholas's Church for 10 years. And he stepped down in the face of institutional homophobia and misogyny. And that took great courage, and I commend him for doing that. All fantastic choices, my Lord Mayor, and the Liberal Democrat group are very happy to support their nominations today.
Thank you, Councillor Cashman. Councillor Crone.
Thank you, Lord Mayor. I'm also delighted to endorse everybody who's been nominated today. I think they show an incredible breadth of achievement and talent that we expect from the people of this city, but they are all excellent candidates for freedom of the city. Just a special mention for Chrissy Byrne, who I did have the honour of getting to know while she was campaigning to save Walton Hall Park. As you say, a force of nature, somebody who just through the force of her personality galvanised her community and protected her park, and then went on to improve it over many years of commitment and worked with people from across the city to really do a lot to further the cause of protecting green spaces. She was a very inspirational person and is sorely missed. So, thank you, and we endorse all those nominees.
Thank you, Councillor Crone. Councillor Radford.
Reasons, and I think it would be remiss not to add. I think we also have a statement of her personal courage. When she was faced with a terminal illness, she wanted a very small number of the family and very close friends to know, and she wanted to carry on doing her public duties and support for her public activities up to the very last few days. And I think that really shows a strength of character that I think we should all take an inspiration from. She was also someone who had a technical ability to understand the issues of parks that I have to say was a first port of call rather than our officers for getting technical information about what needed to be done and what could be done. And I don't say that in any derogatory way at all. Her excellent knowledge of the issues of water pollution, impact on the climate, on the water quality, was second to none. It really was a meticulous mind. And I think, without doubt, because I met the family after Chrissy passed away at an event on BBC Awards, I know the family will take absolutely great pride. This council will recognise her. And I hope to speak for all councillors of all parties. I think for those people who know, I'm one of the sponsors for the gay Christian movement, and I actually have perfect respect for the dilemma that Crispin Palin has. Many churches have struggled to come to terms with the issues of lesbian gay rights, and also the issues of lesbian gay clergy within their churches. I remember speaking very candidly to the former Bishop Jones to say how his initial opposition to those issues had a detrimental impact on the very lives of his clergy who felt they had to live in secrecy double lives. And to his credit, after considerable correspondence, the Jones actually issued, on behalf of all the Christian Presidents Association, a supportive statement to Gay Pride supporting the campaign against homophobic violence. And it's been a dilemma for many people within the churches is how to bring the churches along to have a more inclusive view, and still be within those churches. And I think all of us will respect his courage in making that decision. And only this year I have very personal reasons to thank Crispin. It was my suggestion to the family. Crispin led the memorial service for my close friend, Councillor Hazel Williams, who's a Lord Mayor of this council. And he did that service with absolute justice. And I owe him a great sense of thanks on behalf of all the friends and family. He also, this Christmas, gave an organisation I give support to called Baubles for Beds, which is a homeless charity. His knowledge and commitment for the needs of homelessness and actually create strategic changes is something I think I would hope we will all continue to draw upon, even though he will no longer be the rector of St Nicholas. I'll say it there because I think I've made a very personal comment about two people I know well. I think what's been said of the other members is something we in the Liberal group would welcome. And thank you for the opportunity, my Lord Mayor.
Thank you. And Councillor Gibbons, if I could just point out to you, though, although you've sneaked two extra members in, they don't get a vote, but they are very well behaved at the moment. Councillor Gibbons.
Thanks very much. One great son of this city, the Irish trade unionist Jim Larkin, once spoke of the divine gospel of discontent. And I think that runs through some of the people we're talking about tonight. I think we should say that discontent over injustice is a wonderful thing. Those who say no when things are wrong should be honoured. And I'll just mention people I know personally or who've had an impact on my life. Chrissy Byrne was a friend and she was a fighter. And I love somebody who could both be condemned as a Lib Dem troublemaker and as a Labour activist. If you've done that, you've probably upset the right people. And when I was still in the Labour Party, our Warbrek branch supported Chrissy in her efforts to stop building on Walton Hall Park, shamefully pushed forward by a then cabinet member and a member of the Labour Party who thankfully has departed from this chamber. And Chrissy had a role in that happening. Chrissy saw our green spaces as something to be cherished and maintained for future generations. And when we reflect on Chrissy's life, we shouldn't be looking back, we have to be looking forward. Unless we save, renovate and make these green spaces something special, we have forgotten what her life was all about. And at the moment, those parks still face massive challenges. When I walk around that lake, Chrissy would cry about the state of it, and we have got to do something about it. The real thing was just moments of absolute joy. The music, for anybody who grew up as a young man or woman in the 1970s, will remember the exhilaration of this band and reflect back to a band called The Chants that Paul McCartney said was the most talented, which was a foundation black band in Liverpool 8, and they didn't make it because nobody backed Paul McCartney's judgment at the time in the record industry. The other thing is people forget about the political music that The Real Thing made, talking about racist oppression in Liverpool 8, talking about police oppression in Liverpool 8. And the same goes when we look at Leroy Cooper's life. He was a victim of that oppression, and we shouldn't give a sanitised view, we should give a realistic view that these people are absolute giants in turning round the grim racism that characterised this city for so many years. And then many of us remember applauding to the echo John Ashton's clear-sighted and vindicated warnings about the dangers of COVID. When Boris Johnson was blithering like an idiot, John Ashton was ripping apart the arguments of the government. So again, let's not be sanitised. Let's talk about fighting injustice and dedicate ourselves to the future. And finally, in terms of the Reverend, let's see you on Pride on Saturday. Thanks very much.
Thank you, Councillor Gibbons. We require a 2/3 majority of this, but I'm almost certain it's going to be unanimous. Please, could you indicate if you're in favour of the motion I moved? Is anyone against? No, that's unanimously carried. Thank you very much. Let's then move on to the ordinary meeting of the Council. I don't think there's any changes since the last declaration of apologies for absence or declarations of interest. So I move to item 2. There are 2 sets of minutes to approve for the last ordinary council meeting, which some of you may remember was right back at the beginning of March, and the extraordinary meeting, which took place on, if I remember rightly, the 21st of May. Can we agree that I sign those as a true record? Thank you. Right, so we now move to announcements, and I have got 1 or 2. One of which I've just noticed. The officers must be expecting trouble today because somewhere this gavel has come from nowhere, and I haven't seen that for a long time. So I have got the official Lord Mayor's gavel just in case. So, it's the Chief Executive arranged that, but I'm sure there's not going to be any trouble. Since July the 4th, I have written to the 5 MPs re-elected in those elections, saying that I believe that there are greater opportunities for working together between the Council and them as our parliamentary representatives, given the change in the national government. I'm sure that 3 of the national parties represented in this chamber were well satisfied with the advances that they made. But perhaps we should pass our commiserations to the Liberal Party, led of course nationally by Councillor Radford, whose national vote was so small that it was classed as statistical 0% by the BBC. But better luck next time. Councillor Radford, having a joke at your expense is not regarded as party political in this chamber. I've also written to the 3 members elected on that date to welcome them not only to the council but to their new local government family, in addition to their Labour family, and to wish them well. That gives me the opportunity to say that I hope all members will behave themselves at this meeting, so that our new members don't wish that they'd actually got elected to us. I've been made aware of some really nasty exchanges between members of the council on all sides on social media. What you do out there is up to you, but I do not intend to let such bad behaviour exist within this council chamber, and will admonish any councillor who behaves disrespectfully to each other or to members of the public. But I always want to tell you at these meetings about the good things that I see in Liverpool. And the last few weeks have involved me, as you might guess, in a lot of visits involved in the ending of the school and academic year. These visits have included the Royal Liverpool School for the Blind, Myerscough College graduation, Liverpool John Moores University graduation, and I'm going to hope graduation tomorrow, awards in this chamber to supported interns who've found a job with great support but with great enthusiasm, and to Greenbank College, where their students suffer a series of disadvantages. These 5 institutions alone have a wide range of students, from those whose options are extremely limited to those where the world might indeed be their oyster. But whatever their background, these institutions have 2 things in common. Firstly, students doing their very best to maximise their knowledge and skills, and institutions who had created a caring and supportive environment to maximise that desire of their students. The best thing that any city or country can do to help people out of poverty is provide them with a good education, which gives them aspirations that they might not have had, and help them gain the qualifications that our city, our council, to say nothing of themselves, actually need as we jointly progress. Too often, as councillors or MPs, we spend our time looking at the next problem without appreciating the lot of good things that are happening right under our nose here in Liverpool. And I've seen some of them. I could tell you about a lot more. I will see a lot more. But let's be proud of what we are achieving in this city, sometimes against all the odds. Just Council.
Is the Chief Exec going to announce some election results first?
Confirmed.
Thank you. Thanks, Lord Mayor. This is simply to note that since our last meeting, the council received resignations from former councillors Nick Crofts, Louise Ashton and Helen Avis, and as a result, as you said, Lord Mayor, by-elections were held on the same day as the general election for Broad Green, Clubmoor East and Fazakerley North wards. And pleased to report that, and pleased to welcome Councillors Hayley Todd, Councillor Richard McLean and Councillor Declan Henry to their place today. Thank you.
So if you're not embarrassed, would our three new councillors like to stand up so we know who you are and where you are? 1, 2, 3. Well done.
Hold on. I think it's my turn now. And I'll do my very best so you don't need to use the gavel on me, Richard. But just a few, just a few things I was going to take the opportunity to mention, because obviously this is the first full council meeting since the commissioner intervention in the council ended on time. I want to put on record my thanks to all councillors and everyone across the council for getting us to that point. Obviously, our improvement journey does not stop. It will continue at the right pace. And it was great to welcome an LGA team to the City Council last week as part of that peer review process, and look forward to the really good recommendations that they'll be presenting to us in the next couple of months, and then implementing that as the next stage of our improvement journey. But just like you, Lord Mayor, obviously the last month has been largely taken up by elections, and it was on that subject that I did want to make reference. I hope I speak for the whole chamber in welcoming the ending of a Tory government that has been particularly unkind to Liverpool and the people of Liverpool. And just like you, congratulate the 5 MPs across the city that have just been elected. But I'd go further, and I'd like to congratulate the 17 Labour MPs across the city region, and I'm really looking forward to working with all of them to advance the interests of the city and the wider city region going forward. Obviously, just as we've heard, it's great to welcome Declan and Richard to the chamber as new councillors, and it's lovely to welcome back Hayley Todd returning as a councillor. But can I also put on record my thanks to all candidates and all parties that participated in those by-elections. But I do just want to sort of mention finally about what I believe have been some really positive steps by the new Labour government working with us here in Liverpool. It was great how the new Chancellor of the Exchequer in her very first speech mentioned the city, and then was good to follow that with £55 million so we can kickstart building on the central docks here in the city, because we want to see much more of those brand new homes of all types and all tenures built here in the city. Great in the King's speech also to have a new deal for working people. We know how important that will be for so many people across this city to make sure they've got the rights at work they deserve, and that work pays properly to cover the cost of living. We're going to be debating it shortly, but obviously it's really pleasing to see a Hillsborough law at long last coming forward, and I know we will all look forward to making sure that is implemented in full. Let me say in finishing, Lord Mayor, it will be a tough road ahead in fixing 14 years of Tory damage to this city and this whole country. But I'm relishing the opportunity of leading this Labour Council hand in hand with our Labour Metro Mayor and our Labour government to deliver for the people of this city. And I think in the first 2 weeks, we've made a really good start. Thank you, Lord Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Cashman, if you have any comments.
Yes, thank you, Lord Mayor. And can I also welcome the new councillors to this City Council, and also the new Labour government. We look forward to better governance. I don't think that'll be very hard, to be perfectly honest. But also, I'm sure all councillors in this chamber will want to hold them to account when it comes to delivering both on their promises, but also particularly on social justice. And can I also say congratulations to Liverpool's new MPs and all new MPs elected to Parliament, particularly the 72 Liberal Democrats MPs elected to this Parliament, one of which, my Lord Mayor, is a former Liverpool City Councillor. And I'm sure the leader of the council and all councillors will join with me in wishing Tom Morrison a successful parliamentary career.
Right, we now turn to public statements. We have 3 people who are going to address the council for 3 minutes each. The first being Margaret Aspinall, who is not unknown to speech-making in this council. Margaret, it's a pleasure to see you back.
First, I would like to thank Liam and Mark for putting this very important motion forward. Why do I think it's important? It's important because I am 35 years older than what I was when Hillsborough happened. I've been campaigning alongside the families, our city, our survivors and our fans for all of them years. If we hadn't campaigned the way we did, the accidental verdict would have stood, and also our survivors and our city would have been shamed. To me, that is an absolute disgrace. So on behalf of all of the families, on behalf of our city, indeed, of our people, I ask for this Hillsborough law to be put forward for everybody to agree, all councillors from all cities to agree for a Hillsborough law. For the simple reason, as I've said, we campaigned, we were in a terrible, terrible state at the time in 1989. Yet we didn't only have to campaign against the establishment, we had to campaign against the media. Then we also had to raise funds, which is so important for everybody to have an equal footing on anything. How can you pay for the people who were in charge on that day for something that was so indefensible, when the victims' families had to go and try and raise funds to defend? We had nothing to defend, but we had to defend our loved ones. To me, that was morally unjust, so wrong, and that can never happen again. I look at the likes of Grenfell, post office scandal, Rochdale, all of these, and these cover-ups have been going on for years, for centuries, been going on. If you go back to Jimmy Savile, and forgive me if I offend anybody, I don't mean to, but this is important to me. It's important to the families that we get the help that these ordinary families need. It's not about the Hillsborough families. We are asking for nothing else. We've achieved all we can achieve. But what this is about is for the ordinary people to get a level playing field. All documentation released. We had to fight to get all the documentation released. How can you pay for the lies and cover up? It's got to stop. We all have a duty to the ordinary people of this country to give them a level playing field, a duty of candour. If they'd have had a duty of candour in 1989, I would not be standing here today speaking to all of you. Them lies would never have been allowed to happen. So I will not go away until I see a Hillsborough law in all its entirety for the ordinary people of our country. They deserve it. And most importantly, our 97 deserve it. They're the ones that died and lost not just their lives, they lost everything, their future, and they have changed so much since their deaths that my son and 96 alongside him who are buried deserve to have a legacy that will last for a long time, and people will understand why did 97 people die. There was no need for it. But there was no need for our taxpayers to have cost them so much money to defend that indefensible. That is what angers me. We didn't cost the country, the establishment, and there was only Theresa May in the past that listened to what I had to say and gave us what we needed. Without that help, we would never have had that second inquest. and got to the truth of Hillsborough. So there's so many people I have to thank, and I'd like to thank Andy Burnham for all what he has done, alongside me, Steve Rotherham, Derek Twigg. There's so many in the Labour Party who did help us, but there were so many that didn't. We've had so many promises and nothing was fulfilled. I want a Hillsborough law. I don't want any promises. I want to see it in fruition. So please, I ask you all, for them 97 and them families who have suffered so much, that's what they deserve. Thank you.
I think that standing ovation says it all, doesn't it? Now, the next two speakers are relating to the motion at item 18 on the agenda. And the first person I'm going to call is Shukri Mohammed in relation to that motion.
Good afternoon, evening, everyone. Sorry, I'm really nervous. Okay. Well, thank you very much. I'm not going to speak for long, but I just wanted to say thank you so much for this remarkable moment and historical moment to Liverpool City Council and the Republic of Somaliland, and recognising it, and all the councillors who worked so hard and supported it as a cross motion. I just wanted to say thank you very much, and all my friends and my community here, who's also the backbone of our community. Just quickly, Somaliland is not a new country. Long before the colonisation, the same ethnic group have been inhabited in Somaliland today. Somaliland, exact region where it is now, and those same ethnic group entered treaties protection with Britain. Now, before the crumble of Africa, the Berlin Conference, Somaliland protection ended with the Republic of Somaliland as a state in June 26, 1960, when they took their independence from Britain. Today, Somaliland's continuation statehood gained its independence from Britain. Therefore, Somaliland is not a new country as people stated it to be. Somaliland is not a region. Somaliland is not a breakaway. Somaliland, our independence is safeguarded by the international community, particularly Article 2.4 of the United Nations Charter. Somaliland, sorry, I've missed a bit. On the exact same date, Madagascar gained their independence from France and striving Somaliland's independence. However, our pathway was not exactly went the way we wanted it. When Somaliland was annexed by Somalia in 1960 to 1991, during this time by Somalia, who committed a genocide against the people of Somaliland. This crime was investigated by the United Nations. Yet to be published, the Somaliland re-established its sovereignty in 1991, May 18th May. As you know, the country does not lose independence after annexation and occupation. Somaliland removed the occupiers of Somalia. We impact the continuation of the legal statehood. Throughout the treaties which was established with Britain, we forged a long history in trade starting 1827. And this benefited both of our countries because of those treaties. We are among the first to come to Britain and establish the trade hub with the Britain Empire. Additionally, Somalilanders fought in both World War I and World War II. Those who fought were my great-grandfathers who are not here with us today. As my father joined the Mansion Navy, going back in Aden, 1948, I believe. Ever since then, he's been here and died for this country as well, working, and our forefathers, many of our members who are sitting here today and tonight, their fathers and their grandfathers also stood shoulder to shoulders with them. And they were part of those contributions to the peace in Britain today. Thank you for acknowledging the history of the moment of recognizing Somaliland as independent state. I have many stories to share with you, but I'm not going to go through. Our Somaliland has got a deep, rich history that would make you fall in love. And for those who were before you, who lived in and worked with our people, Liverpool has always been a home to the Somalilanders for many, many years and has become for present and past. Therefore, I thank Liverpool City Council who took the lead of reuniting families after the genocide. I speak for myself when I say many of those today, the children who survived the genocide, I myself one of them. If it wasn't for the Liverpool elite firm, Liverpool City Council, and Aden Ilmi, the late Aden Ilmi, Alan Gale, Zainab Haji Yusuf, and Peter Seaman, who came to find us in a refugee camp called Kamabokor that was also on the border of Ethiopia, who also saved us again from the regime. So I thank you guys today and every day, because I wouldn't be here otherwise, being reunited with my father. And the moment I remember, I must have been around 11 years old when my mother came home crying and said, "Look, do you know what this is?" And I said, "No." And she said, "We're going to go and see your dad in Liverpool." Now, Mom didn't want to come to England when he married her. She had that choice, but she wanted to remain home and stay home. And because of the genocide that was committed, we had to flee and leave our home. And Liverpool has given us a home where we call it a home. And this is my home, our home, to all the Somalilanders. So, your Lord Mayor, thank you very much. Otherwise, I will.
Thank you, Shukri. So I'd now like to call someone who will make this occasion unique in the annals of Liverpool Council history. I'm going to ask Mr. Abdi Abdullah Hersey to address full council again in recognition of the motion. He is the representative of the Somaliland government in the UK, who, if this motion was passed and acted upon by the government, would be the ambassador from Somaliland to this country. I believe that Mr. Abdullah is the first diplomat to ever address a full council, so perhaps we should all welcome him here and help us record this piece of our history.
Thank you, Lord Mayor, Honorable Leader of the Council, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. It's with immense certitude, gratitude, and pride that I stand before you today on behalf of the Republic of Somaliland and as the head of the Somaliland UK mission based in London. First and foremost, I would like to extend our heartfelt thanks to Liverpool members of the cross-party council, particularly Councillor Lucille Harvey and Councillor Tracia O'Brien, and the people of Liverpool and of their wavering support and the motion of recognition for Somaliland. Your solidarity and commitment have touched our hearts deeply and renewed our hope for a brighter future. I would like to thank Liverpool MPs, Honorable Kim Johnson, as Secretary of All Party Parliamentary Group, and Honorable Paula Parker for their support with the All Party Parliamentary Group. We are also grateful for the support of the local MPs, the city councils of Sheffield, Cardiff, Birmingham, and London Borough of Tower Hamlet. And would like to encourage other local MPs and councillors to join the noble cause, where Somaliland needs your recognition as United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland. Honourable councillors, Liverpool was and is always in our hearts. As you all know, the earliest Somaliland immigrants arrived in the city in the 19th century, as Shugri mentioned it a few minutes ago, who were lascaris and merchants. A second group of seamen came during the Second World War with the Royal Navy from British Somaliland, which was a British protectorate at that time. I'm also grateful for Shugri Chama, her continuous campaign for Somaliland's recognition. Once again, thank you very much for allowing me to speak in this chamber, and thank you so much, Lord Mayor, and all the councillors and the guests. Thank you.
So thank you for that. Can I move that under item 24.1.2 of our standing orders, we change the order of business of the meeting so that agenda item 18, Somaliland re-recognition, is the next item of business. Is that agreed? Thank you. I just say before we move to the moving and seconding that Lucille, Liam and I met the Somaliland ambassador and colleagues. We looked at what we could do nationally. We looked at what we could do through the global local government family and what we could do here in Liverpool to provide support to our local Somaliland community. So we did agree that there would be a starting of a process here to move things forward, and there will be more dialogue to make sure that Somaliland is known about in the first instance, and then the people of Somaliland are helped here. Because this is all-party agreement, it will be a technical vote on it, and it will be moved in the first instance by Tricia O'Brien as the Labour Chief Whip.
Thank you, my Lord Mayor. So I'd like to move the motion, which is agenda item 18, Somaliland re-recognition. And I'd like to thank the Council and the Lord Mayor for advancing it up the agenda so that the Somali people in the city who wish to have a celebratory party in thanks are able to start it sooner. And I'd like to thank all parties in the chamber for making this a cross-party motion. I think it would be a great advance if this country could become independent, obviously.
Thank you very much, Councillor Kelly. The party is going on, I think, from now till midnight. I've said I can't go because I'm too old, but I'm sure all councillors are welcome, aren't they? So if any of you wake up with a thick head in the morning, I want to know, because I'll find out who stayed too late. So can I formally put that motion to the vote? Can I see all those in favour? And that's agreed unanimously. We will do our best to help you with your national, international. Now we move to item 5, councillor questions. The replies have been given, but I will now invite supplementary questions from the leaders of the opposition groups, from up to 2 non-executive members of the Labour group, asking a question with the following rules. Supplementary questions raised must relate to the written responses provided only. No statements will be made, and there's a time limit of 1 minute. The leader or a cabinet member may respond or offer a written response, but that again will be up to 1 minute. Start with Councillor Gibbons and a question about social housing.
Yeah, the supplementary, Liam, is basically, are you going to make representations? Because affordable housing is 80% of market or cost value. What we want to see is directly on council houses being built into, so make a representation that it figures.
Alan, can we just wait a minute to let people
less than a minute,
leave?
it's a question.
Yeah. Oh, you've done it. Leader, and you heard it. Okay.
Really important question, Alan. The answer is yes. We're working very closely with Mayor Steve Rotherham to look at the potential of combined authority council housing. That might need legislative change to allow us to open up a new HRA, but we think that that could be the vehicle that would be best fitted to actually deliver council housing in the city and across the city region. So yes.
Thank you. Back to Councillor Gibbons for a question about unadopted roads.
Was that me again?
Unadopted roads.
Oh, sorry, I couldn't hear you properly. My deafness.
It's you with a question about unadopted roads.
Yeah, I mean it's a basic one about fairness. I mean, do you think it's fair that people who have unadopted roads, 440 in the city, pay the same council tax but don't receive completely the same services? It is a massive problem.
It's obviously a complicated issue, and if there are specific roads and alleys that you want us to look at, we certainly can do, because I'm conscious that in some circumstances the issues actually aren't the responsibility of the council, they're the issues of United Utilities, effectively the water board. So if there's specific examples, we're happy to go and have a look and see what we can try to do. Yeah.
So you're looking at that on an ongoing basis, road by road, as it were. Fine, thank you. Councillor Lake, question about Peter Lloyd Leisure Centre. He will